Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Cressida Wetton, still joined by Steve and Alan and Count Dankula. We're looking at your say. Of course, Headliners viewers love abuse. And somebody has said, boring panel tonight, get Lewis on. But that somebody is called Willie Cockshot. So we know it's you, Lewis. We know who you are.
That's his real name.
He doesn't like to talk about that after the incident. Anyway, kicking things off with the Daily Mail and Future Steve. If you're reading this is me from 3 hours ago, wants to know if Kamala made her speech yet.
Yeah, well, they say sore loser Kamala still hasn't admitted that she lost as world waits for concession speech and Biden stays silent. Those two things have changed, but still you can make the argument of how long it took. There was a headline saying that Biden finally broke his silence about it, I imagine with the words, "I was president." It was a shock for him. And then, the speech. Admittedly, it took a while, but she didn't wait till January the 6th. You know what you're comparing it to? There's no absolute rush for this anyway. She's already lost everything. Give her the chance to just not do this in a rush. And so, of all the things to criticise Kamala for, this is not it, I would say. But in the speech thing that she gave, she said, it doesn't mean we won't win. Yeah, it does. It's literally what conceded. But there was someone I was reading online about it. She managed to get 14 million fewer votes than Biden. That's the thing to look at. To stop and think this is not all about Trump, big, scary, bad man. Don't make it all about that. Make it about your own side. What did you not sell to the people who should have voted for you, in your opinion, that they voted for Biden and not you?
Her entire campaign was just, I'm not Trump. That's it. There was no promises. There was nothing, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to improve this. There was none of that. It was just orange man bad.
Yeah.
That was it. That was an entire campaign.
It's almost as if joy is wasted on you.
There is no joy. Well, there's plenty of joy for me today. I'm having a great time. Not so much for Kamala.
What do you think about it being late? Because I felt like it was late. It's like, come on, get it over with. If you failed, just come out and say it and get on with it. I think the longer you leave it, the more it builds.
To be fair, women take ages to get ready.
They'd like to. They don't always have the opportunity. And unusually for someone on her side of the culture war, Kemi's actually demanded an apology. Count, you've got this.
Yeah, Badenoch demands Starmer apologises to Trump in punchy PMQ's debut. I believe it's Badenoch just trying to cosy up to Trump now that he's in there as well. But it was a new Tory leader clashes with the Prime Minister over Foreign Secretary's previous comments about the President-elect. Kemi Badenoch demanded an apology from Sir Keir Starmer for David Lammy's past attacks on Donald Trump. I don't know why Keir Starmer's being asked to apologise for something someone else said and all that. And, for me, when it comes to things you say, I would say don't apologise, double down. That man, I would respect him more if he just doubled down on it. But, it is pretty much an accepted thing that David Lammy says some really stupid stuff a lot. You just kind of treat him like the senile grandpa at the Christmas dinner that says some stuff and everyone just sort of pretends he didn't just say that.
Yeah.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall when they went for dinner. Starmer came back and said, was it lunch? We went out for a meal. And you think, oh, man, I would love that footage. That's an episode of First Dates I'd like to watch. What was said?
Yeah, hopefully they played Trump the clip of David Lammy where he talks about the lack of police presence. You must have seen the clip where he stood there being interviewed by the news saying, and it's terrible, we've not seen a police officer around here all day. And just in the background is a police officer stood there. It's a classic David Lammy moment. So as long as you play that to Trump, it'll be right. Look, it's not as if... There are many people who've said nasty things about Donald Trump, and I'm sure he will hold a grudge, and at some point there'll be payback. But there'll be a long line. I'm not sure David Lammy's at the front of it. There's loads of people.
Yeah, because he's not in a position where he needs to be able to talk to people in other countries. It's not. Don't you think he's quite an important person to be?
I think he's a terrible person to have the job.
Yes.
I don't know if this is going to be the top of Donald Trump's in trait, I think is what I'm saying. But this is all about Kemi's first appearance at PMQ.
Yes.
And the Telegraph really writes it up like it was an absolute win. There were a couple of fails that didn't even get mentioned. There was the awkward bit. I think she was very entertaining and makes really good clips. Mm-hmm. And the questions are really impactful. But the answers, you actually managed to not seem like Starmer wasn't too stressed by her approach. And there were bits where she said the budget didn't even mention defence. And he just goes, what about page 93? And then there was another bit where she said, you're just reading out your responses. And she read that bit out. It's like, mate. So he easily just went, you're reading that. So look, it's early days for her, but I don't think it was a great performance.
It wasn't the roast of Angela Rayner, was it, that we saw before?
No.
She was killing it.
No, it definitely wasn't. But, she did say that apparently she wants to prove that the Labour government are above student politics, which is going to be difficult for a party that's comprised entirely of students. Because, of course, the skint students love Labour because they're going to love the party that promises free stuff.
Although that was, that's up to date until a couple of hours ago, or yesterday, when it was like, oh, tuition fees.
Yeah.
Fair point. We've got a classic case of psychological projection in the Daily Mail now, Steve.
Sadiq Khan says Londoners will be fearful over Donald Trump's stunning US election win as long-running feud between mayor and new president revives. Yeah, don't be Lammy Mark II. This is the worst time to say things, because you might end up having to bump into him again. Also, don't be a victim, because if Sadiq Khan just said, I don't like this outcome, fair enough, well, you're allowed your opinions, but to say, oh, Londoners are anxious, I mean, that's just true. Everyone's anxious these days, it seems.
He doesn't speak for all of them. Maybe they're all anxious because London's dangerous because of him.
All the stabbings puts you on edge.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, don't be the victim of, like, oh, we're fearful about it. Just disagree with it rather than go, oh, I'm the victim of who's been voted in as a leader of a different country.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, lots of rhetoric about inclusivity, London's for everyone. I don't know if it's for you, Count.
Donald Trump's not in charge of London, so I don't know why. I think what Sadiq Khan means is he's afraid because he keeps beefing with Donald Trump, and he knows that Donald Trump's much better at it than him and of him, so that's what he's, worried about. I mean, he doesn't speak for all Londoners, so Sadiq Khan should just shut up.
Fair enough. This just seems to be the tone, though, that everybody on the left has taken. It's all about fear, isn't it? And nobody says, oh, that's a missed opportunity. It's always like, we're very fearful now. I've read a lot of that today. OK, the Eye now, and upsetting news about a plethora of new agricultural photo opportunities opening up for Ed Davies, Count.
Yeah, Labour could lose 59 marginal seats. Is this the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah, over
What
Farmer.
I was getting at was we might see Ed Davey in a lot of dancing around on tractors.
Yeah.
It's a health and safety nightmare.
But
lose an arm.
They could lose 59 marginal seats over farmer inheritance taxes, and absolutely deservedly so. I don't know what's going on in the West, but for some reason, governments keep messing with farmers. I don't know what's going on with it, and it seems they're trying to... It almost seems like they're purposefully trying to get these people to lose their farms so that the state can then come in and buy them. Because there's actually a government buyback programme right now for farms on their website. They say, are you looking to sell your farm? We'll buy it. And then they're basically trying to make farming just completely unaffordable and non-profitable, so people are forced to sell their farms, and then the government takes them over. It's essentially what Stalin did, except Stalin just did it by force, but this is done with lawfare instead. Price the average, private people out of owning farms, so the government can just take them over.
Well, it does look very cynical, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, there's one take on this, which I wish... the messaging is definitely wrong, because the people who are trying to defend it are saying that there is an inheritance tax loophole, where if you've got an absolute ton of money, you can put it in land and then pass the land on without having to pay any inheritance tax. Find a way of, if that is your motivation, find a way of closing that loophole. I always say this with loopholes. Stop moaning about them, close them. And if this is trying to close them, well, no, you must realise the way you're closing it is going to get farmers genuinely working the land caught in this. There must be a way to stop rich people just buying land to pass on land to sell it later on or whatever it is. Outlaw it or do something, rather than this, which really seems to be catching within the group of people attacked, those people who make all that nice, tasty food I enjoy. And I like food. I'm on the side of food.
Yeah, the people that feed the 60 million people in this country, maybe it's a good idea to just leave them alone and let them get on with it.
Potatoes make crisps. We all love crisps.
That's what it's all about. You know, recently the floods in Spain caused us to lose a quarter of our fresh produce. I found that astonishing that one country was responsible for so much of our food security. So we need to grow more stuff, not less, is my point. OK, we've got a serious one in The Independent now, Steve.
20 men jailed over child rape and sexual abuse in Calderdale. 3 different investigations, 3 trials, terrible details when you get into it. The newspaper here doesn't actually mention race, but it lists all of their names. I'm sure other newspapers will be pointing out that there seems to be a thread of race. The thing that I don't get about this, though, is that 3 trials actually happened. So clearly the legal system did work. We only get the details now because we couldn't get details before to ensure good prosecutions, and those cases were linked. The positive here would be that maybe post-Rotherham there is no fear of saying, this is the thing, because that was the problem. The idea that you daren't move a complaint higher up for fear of racism. If that's gone, this could be good news.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, this all started in 2016, but as Steve says now, I feel like after the excellent work of Charlie Peters, probably people would be far less inclined to cover this stuff up.
Yeah. I think people are, especially like after what happened with like Harvey Weinstein and stuff like that, lots of women gained the courage to come forward and actually talk about their experiences that they had. I'm hoping that with what happened with Rotherham and everything, people now feel a lot more confident about approaching the police now that they might actually do something about it.
Yeah, good point. OK, closing this section with The Independent and a calm, rational look at what may have caused the candidate with drunk aunt energy, I haven't had a drop, to lose the election, Steve.
They hate the women.
They hate the women.
Devastated Harris voters conclude America hates women as Trump defeats second female rival. Well, that's two of them. For a minute there, I thought it was spurious.
Trump has prevented the first female president twice. Just when you thought the guy couldn't get any more amazing.
It must be about hate. But so much... look, I mean, this doesn't prove that America doesn't hate women, but it doesn't prove that they do.
Exactly.
And there's one tweeter said, one thing America hates more than a rapist is a woman. What a stupid sentence. If that were the case, there'd be no rape laws. That's how I can disprove that sentence straight away. And also, I mean, I'm not here to be overly serious, but for the love of all that is good, stop and learn. If something's not gone your way, think, well, I didn't know all the information about the truth, the reality within a nation. Why don't I find out why people voted a certain way? Or it is quicker to go, no, they hate women. It's what happened with Brexit.
Infuriating, isn't it? And how bigoted to look at her and think that that's the first thing that we all see.
Yeah, it's not that we hate women, it's the fact that the women that they're putting forward for the candidacy are just extremely unlikable.
I mean, it offends me that she's the best they could find. That is just extraordinary to me. I promise my sex can do better than that.
I'm telling you, if you want a female president, someone hot. I'm telling you, I'm being serious. See, I guarantee you, the first female president of the United States of America will be someone hot. I'm telling you.
In your opinion, excellent. I don't know what you're into.